Hey, what's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be discussing 5 signs that will show you that you are focusing on the wrong online niche. Now, this is a video based on Roger Gustav's article that came up. So I'm going to basically copy off of what he has done and just give you a short version of what he actually says you need to look out for. So let's get into it. Real quick, if you don't know what a niche is, it's very simple to understand. It is, for example, if you sell clothing, instead of being that general, what you're going to do is you're going to narrow it down and you're going to say, I only sell hats. And then you're going to narrow it down and you're going to say, oh, I only sell pink hats. Then you're going to narrow it down and you're going to say, I'm only selling hats to kids to the age of 9 and 15. And that's how much you go down. And the more you go down, you're niching down on your topic. Being said, let's get into it. So he says number 1 is your niche is based on a trend. So if your niche is based on a trend, he says that the most people get into business with the idea of creating a sustainable business for a long term. And if you're not in this group, I'm very worried about your niche based on the trend. So he says it's very tempting to pick a niche based on the blowing up, but just as fast as it has become popular, it can go back to being almost non-existent. And then he carries on to saying that, like the hoverboard, for example, the 1 year it sold for almost $20,000 worth of profit in affiliate sales. And then the second year, it barely made $200 in a month. And then it became non-existent, apparently. And he says that it's not necessary that you can't take advantage of these situations, but you have to be willing to go for it in the long term as well. So if you're willing to make a short-term cut, then this might be for you, but be careful. He says you're competing with a huge business on every corner. Now, he carries on to say here that he doesn't think it's necessarily a disaster to already have authority in your niche. But he also says that you can make some money being number 2. For example, he says here that you can look at like Pepsi Cola, for example, where Coca-Cola is very successful, but Pepsi is also doing just as fine. It doesn't mean that they don't make money in that niche. You just have to be careful that you're not dominated by other businesses in that niche. He says if you're consistently trying new angles to appeal to your niche, but your competitors keep innovating those spaces and are capable of taking all your attention away from you, then you might have to look at a different niche. And yeah, I agree. That makes sense. Number 4, he says most people in your niche are broke, so an online business needs to be profitable to sustain itself. Entering a niche that's known for having people that don't have money is not the best idea. It often limits how much you can ask for your product and or service, and it decreases your chance of making upsells and increase your profit. This doesn't mean you can't make it, but it often takes the same amount of energy to target niches where they are willing to spend some cash. And then carries on to say how are we going to deal with it and how are we going to make it a bit more profitable. He says that you can overcome some of these niches, but not all of them are going to be able to be handled. So depending on the situation, you could also narrow down your niche to a subspace, he says. He says, like, for example, he says, yeah, that if you competed with people like Tony Robbins or Tim Ferriss or Patrick Bet-Davis in like the personal development niche, then you can always narrow them down. You can do it by location, for example, or you can do it by demographic or even activity. He says you can do something like meditation, productivity, leadership, or even communication. It just depends, but always narrow it down a little bit more, because even if you feel like you're not going to be able to get as wide audience, you don't necessarily want a wide audience, because the more you have, the more people are educated in that situation. If you keep following Tony Robbins or you keep following Tim Ferriss, the odds of you competing with them is very little. And that's it for today. So if you guys enjoyed it, have a like, have a subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys again.